Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel database where you can get plot synopses and character bios and the like. So today we're looking at Classic X-Men number 17. I am covering Chris Claremont's run on everything X. So that would include the New Mutants, Excalibur, all the X-Men annuals, S specials. It's a lot of stuff. So I am going to see how much, it hopefully I'm able to get to all this before I die. So we got this great cover by John Bogdanov. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, with Terry Austin in the inks. Art Adams took a break from the cover on this issue. And he'll still linger around for a little bit, but eventually he will be replaced by Steve Lytle. I'm using Classic X-Men, and I do have a playlist. So if you have missed anything, check out the X-Men playlist. I started with Classic X-Men number 1 and have been working my way up to current here. This covers X-Men 111. However, I have covered X-Men 110, but I wanted to put this blurb in here. X-Men 110 was not covered on Classic X-Men. Um, the reason it was not covered is during that it's right here. It says X-Men, though not strictly a fill-in issue, X-Men 110 was not immediately related to the series' larger ongoing story arcs, and was not drawn by the new regular series artists John Byrne and Terry Austin, although not included here. Either or both of which may have been why it was not included in the Classic X-Men series. I covered this one by itself. Um, so check it out, like I said, in the playlist. We're covering X-Men 111 here, and we get a little blurb here, kind of what's going on here. So here it kind of tells you all the new stuff that that has been added to the issue. I prefer Classic X-Men because during the first half of Classic X-Men, it gave supplemental material, which I think gives us a broader understanding of everything that's going on. Whereas if I were to just cover X-Men by itself, you don't get that larger picture. So, all right. And then, of course, this is just the regular cover by itself. Dave Cockrum is still the cover artist. Um, I like Dave Cockrum, the early Dave Cockrum. Not a big fan of the later Dave Cockrum. So, all right, and of course we got Banshee, Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, and a Nightcrawler here, who just wears his regular uniform. All right. And so this is a funny one, just Beast and Wolverine kind of with the same hairstyle. And so we get the credits here. Kieran Doyer does the supplemental material for those first 2 pages, and then John Bolton does the backup story. And Tom Rozakowski begins a run. He does almost, not quite, he does almost the rest of the run, Uncanny X-Men, all the way to the end. However, there will be issues here and there that he does not do. But for the most part, Tom Rozakowski is as integral to the X-Men as Chris Claremont, because he was the one that people associated with. I mean, I know for sure that he has lettered the most X-Men comics out there, and so Tom Rozakowski is integral. So this was not included in the original, and this is why um, I prefer classic X-Men to share with people. So we kind of get a little bit of the origin of Hank McCoy here, and how he joined the X-Men, and then how he ended up leaving the X-Men. I love this little panel here. Chris Claremont is very verbose. Um, so how he went from regular Hank McCoy to the Hairy Beast, and then joined the Avengers. And so where he's going to see he needs the X-Men. Um, so we get here some of his thoughts here, and he goes, "I'm breaking just about every rule there is. The Avengers would be justified in throwing the book at me, but living with myself is more important. I hope they understand. If they don't, oh well. C'est la vie." That's French for that is life. It was fun while it lasted, and he goes, I recalibrated the Quinjet sensors so they'd function just like the X-Men's Cerebro mutant detection system, specifically programmed for the X-Men's patterns. Looks like I just hit pay dirt. And then he's like, "Where the blazes am I? Uh Come on, in inertial navigation system. Quit stalling. Strut your cybernetic stuff. Bingo. Sullivan County in Texas. Um, Never heard of it. Cripes, according to the data bank, my high school had more people. Now, mustn't be prejudiced. Not everyone can be a New Yorker born and bred. What the heck are the X-Men doing here?" he says. "Better stay in the deepest shadows. Don't give anyone a shot at a decent look at me. According to the song and story, Texans are supposed to be the most neighborly of folks, but I have a nasty feeling if I'm spotted, my Avengers ID may not cut much ice." Now, this panel up here is new. The X-Men actually started, the issue actually started right here from page 1. Um, so we continue. I'm going to feel like a total chump if there turns out to be a perfectly logical, rational reason for all this. Maybe the team decided to take a sabbatical. Wish I knew what it was about this carney that puts my nerves on edge. I've been jumpy since I walked through the gate. And so we go, "Come on, y'all, get the lead out." That Barker spouting his spiel. This show's about to start. Where, what, who? And then he goes, "Oh, my stars and garters." That's his catchphrase. And so we get mind games, and this is John Byrne. So Kieran Doyer's done. He just did the first 2 pages, and then these 2 panels. And like I said, I don't believe this. I don't believe this at all. This is where the issue actually had started from the beginning. And we got Banshee here describing all these people, which happens to be the X-Men. And so we have no idea what is happening and what's going on here. So, um, Beast put his heads down and says, "Banshee, a carnival Barker, and those posters behind him. From the pictures I've seen, they could be the new X-Men, but I'm not sure. I suppose I should have taken time to meet them, but life in the Avengers has been so hectic lately, I haven't had the chance." So he's looking here and sees Wolverine and Nightcrawler disappear, kind of like they're making him sound like he's some kind of devil. And of course, Storm, and this person here says, "I bet she bleaches her hair." Another person says, "Now that's what I call it, total woman." So Storm's sort of being sexualized here. So now we're gonna see what's going on here, or a little bit as to how the Beast is involved. Um, so what does that prove? I still don't have any concrete, and I can only go so far on hunches. Oh Lord, now what have you gotten this little beastie into? She was frantic when she phoned from Scotland. Havoc and had been kidnapped, and she'd been unable to get any answer when she called the X-Men for help. Now, this thing in Scotland was it was not a story that I covered. Um, at this time, it actually will be covered eventually. Because I'm also doing the Marvel team up run with John Byrne and Chris Claremont. So that story is one I will eventually be getting to. So this happened in a Marvel team up. That Havoc have been kidnapped here. So anyway, Beast continues. I half-footed up to the mansion to see what I could do. If the X-Men were on a mission, I could still use Cerebro to find Havoc. The place was deserted, and judging from the mail, it had been quite a while. Having and he's reading a postcard saying, "Having a great time. Wish you were here, Charles and Lilandra." And then he's like, "Who's Lilandra?" So he's been really out of touch. Um, Beds are unmade, equipment lying around, food half eaten, half cooked, almost as if they disappeared between one bite and the next. I wonder if all this has anything to do with those vanishing Avengers. It says here, Avengers 170 and 172. The more I found and didn't find, the less I liked. Something was very wrong. I checked Cerebro, only to find the system completely shut down. Luckily, there was no permanent damage. I restarted the computer and found the X-Men in nothing flat. So the Beast continues here. We're basically getting, because remember, every comic is somebody's first, so we need to get kind of what's going on. It's something that now comic books are sort of made for trades, so nobody bothers with this. But back then, most comic books were meant to be, one and done. So with a larger story that if you stuck around, you could then see. So I don't know what I expected when I flew out here. After calling the Avengers about Havoc, and now here it says, uh, see Marvel Team Up 70 on sale now. We will eventually get to that story. Um, but Mr. Mike's one ring traveling tent show sure wasn't it. Nothing makes sense. And the harder I try to figure things out, the crazier it all gets. That airless, for instance, she's a redhead. She could be Jean, but if that poster outside is any indication, she sure isn't the Marvel girl I knew. And so here you can see that she's doing a bit here, and B says she missed. She's gotta get out there. She'll be killed. But of course, she floats down because of her telekinetic. And here, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear a grand round of applause for Miss Destiny. Call her what you like, Banshee, but as far as I'm concerned, that lady's name is Jean Grey. So Beast is gonna follow her here. Excuse me, Miss Destiny, may I come in? And she says, "That's why the door is open, sport. I'm a lady who loves to meet her public. Only make it short and sweet. I got a heavy date." And she's like, "Huh? What's the matter, handsome? Cat got your tongue?" And so B says, "I think I just made a terrible mistake. No way, this is Jean. Say something, hunk. I don't like stares. I'm looking for a friend of mine, a woman named Jean Grey. So you found her, Chunky. Only I don't remember any friends like you." And he says, "Marvel girl? Sheesh, a cook. I should have known. Fella, my name's Miss Destiny, like it says on the door." And we got Cyclops here by Slim. "You got troubles, baby? This bozo got me confused with some other broad. Get him out of here, will you, Slim? I got a date with the boss." Slim, and then he looks and he goes, "Scott." And Cyclops says, "You heard the lady, mister. Take a walk, and don't stop till you hit town." "Scott, it's me, Hank. Don't you recognize me?" "Beat it, punk. I don't know nobody named Hank." And, "Oh, cripes. Slim, his face, he's a monster." And you can see that Beast probably kicks him, and he goes stumbled out. He goes, hey Rube." "Oh, brother, so much for the subtle approach. I should have decked him. I suppose I couldn't help pulling my punch." So you can see here he is no longer going to be inconspicuous. So, and here come all these other members of this circus. So here comes Beast then trying to get away using his agility, his acrobatic. Um, and this kid here, look, mom, that monkey's got loose. So um, as Beast, and this guy's got a gun. So Terry Austin is a beautiful inker. Although I do love when he John Byrne inks himself, as he eventually does in the Fantastic Four. But this is still early John Byrne. He's mastering his stuff. You can just see how great John Byrne will be. He's not quite there yet, but he's very close. He's getting there. So I think once he hits the Fantastic Four, um, John Byrne just becomes legendary. Although my favorite of John Byrne's run, and I'm covering it and have a playlist, this is Wonder Woman run. I love his art style on the Wonder Woman run. That is my favorite of John Byrne's versions, is the mid 90s run. So, all right, so Beast is kind of getting away, and now he sees Wolverine kind of here. You can see Wolverine's locked up here. Um, so he's still a little confused. Um, just in time, methinks, as the posse thunders by. From the sound of it, Scott's in the lead. I never knew he was so bloodthirsty. Assuming it's Scott Summers to begin with, all I really know is I've stumbled into a gang of dead ringers. If that is Scott, though, then a sure bet someone's been mucking with his mind, with all the X-Men's minds. So what am I gonna do about it? I can't risk handling this alone. Any force of being capable of zapping the X-Men isn't likely to be taken lightly. I wonder who could it be, and you can see that behind him, someone's approaching. Well, what's important now is getting some reinforcement in here on the double. Like, for instance, the rest of the Avengers. No noise outside. I better be moving on. And suddenly, boom! You get a punch. You can see it's Colossus. Um, I love this part. Anyone get the number of that Uru hammer? That would be Thor's hammer. Is made out of the magical metal called Uru. So, if that was a fist, that hit me. I don't think I want to see the body it's attached to. That's just funny here. So, hey guys, Aruski found him. So, and of course it was Colossus, and so here comes everybody, and they're all gonna wail on him, and you can see Wolverine here is just fighting things. He's like, no, so something's up. It could be his powers, the way they work. So they're gonna take him to see the boss, and it says, hello Beast, it's been a long time. He just says, you Mesmero. Now Mesmero, if you watch was it Daredevil, Jessica Jones, he's played by the guy who did Doctor Who, David Tennant, but he wasn't green. He still had the powers and stuff, but he didn't look like this. And I never understood why green is always every green superhero goes with purple. You got the Hulk with the purple pants. There's so many green costumes out there, green and purple. So I think Magneto's is cool because it's purple and red, which is something that is normally not. You always see green and red, but anyway. Of course, who else could have conceived such a delicious revenge against his most hated foes? Surprised are you? Did you think that after all this time I'd forgotten about you and your fellow X-Men? Hardly, Beast. And Beast says, you'll never get away with this. And he says, who's going to stop me? I snared Marvel Girl in Grand Central Station. In the confusion of the rush hour crowd, she didn't realize her danger till it was too late. She gave me access to Xavier's mansion, and from there, the X-Men fell like dominoes. An instant of eye contact is all I need to enthrall even the strongest of them, as I will enthrall you now, Beast, as he stares at Beast. A good panel here. And of course, Wolverine is not enjoying this. He's trying to snap out of it, and of course, He breaks his chain. Great, um, great panel there by Byrne. So Wolverine seems to be free now, and his mind's working here. What the flaming? Where am I? Last thing I remember, I was Genie, some green-skinned dude. His eyes like fire burning into my head. Need some answers, and this bozo looks like the guy to give them to me. Think, Canary, uh, for I count to 5, or I pop my claws. You're bluffing. 1, 4, 5. I'll talk, I'll talk. So, a few minutes later in Jean Grey's caravan. Some some night, huh, Jeannie? Yuck. Just thinking about that fuzzy fruitcake gives me the shivers, you know? And he said he knew me. Geez, I better run. I'm late for my dinner with the boss. What? And suddenly Wolverine comes in costume. Freeze it, Genie. You ain't going nowhere. Who are you? What do you want from me? You keep away from me. You're here. Keep away. Slim help. Name's Wolverine, Gene. I'm one of the X-Men, just like you are. All you gotta do is remember. Back off, shrimp. You wanna mess with Miss Gray, you're gonna have to go through Slim Summers first. My pleasure, bub. And so he punches Cyclops. Come here, babe. You and me are gonna have words. Hey, there ain't no need to be rough, you know? I won't scream or nothing. I'll do whatever you want. Only don't hurt me, please. Lady, I wish there was some other way. And he slaps her. Now, before people go, oh, abuse and some stuff, it was always believed that people would snap out of it with a slap. It isn't in on TV shows. If you look throughout the 50s and 60s, every time someone was hysterical, guy, man or woman, if you slapped them, they seemed to come to. So that was a trope that was done. So to get people to come through, it was you always had the slap. So it says here, I broke out of my hypnotic trance by reacting to things on gut instinctive level. Be part of me buried so deep even Mesmer couldn't touch it. Now I gotta make Jeannie do the same. Down inside, we're a lot alike, even if she don't know it yet. I'm gambling these slaps will scramble her head enough to bring that part of her to the surface. Come on, Jeannie, react, react. And then he's like, oh, geez. And she goes, stop. Don't hit me, little man. Don't ever hit me like that again. And just boom, wails on Wolverine. What? And then she goes, Lord, what's happening? Wolverine, Wolverine. I'm so sorry. Are you all right? I'm banged up some. I'll live. Shoot, lady, you pack a mean zap. Help me up, will ya? We got to use your powers to free the rest of the X-Men. So, then, babe, we got some scores to settle. And he says, impossible. I'm using my full strength yet, and still the beast resists my hypnotic powers. Can't win them all, huh? And so, Beast thinks here, can't hold out much longer. Skull feels like it's about to burst. If only he'd ease off a little, I think I could bust loose. So, uh, comes this guy to tell him the X-Men have all gotten out. And of course, that was the break that the Beast needed. So, uh, you've had your best shot, pal. Now it's my turn. Put up your dukes. And, hey, relax. No need to be that scared. I'm only gonna hit you once or twice or thrice, or and then he from behind him, someone hits him, and Mesmer is like, "You, it can't be." Ah, but it is, Mesmero. So we are not looking yet or seeing yet who it is. But here come the X-Men. All of them seem to have been snapped off, and they're all handling the people here. So, um, great precision optics shot there with or optic blast here. Here we got a little bit with the green, so a little bit miscoloration, which is always funny that when they reprinted this in the digital version, they didn't even try to fix it. So, all right, so they're about to pounce on Mesmero, and suddenly he collapsed on top of Beast. And here, I shouldn't, I shouldn't worry about Mesmer if I were you, Cyclops. And Jean's like, Scott. And you can see here who it is. You can tell, but we'll have the big reveal on the next page. I should instead simply I instead worry about simply surviving to see tomorrow's sunrise. And of course, they're all like, "Oh no!" And Cyclops like, "We're not even ready for this." And of course, we got Magneto, and now Terry Austin's using some screen tones here that I absolutely love here. So we got Magneto here. Greetings, X-Men. I trust you've all quite recovered from Mesmero's mind games. We have unfinished business, you and I. If you'll remember, when last we met, I swore that not all your powers nor your skills would save you from my wrath, and they shall not. This time, the final victory will belong to Magneto. So, and I have covered all this. So, next issue, two words, say it all. Two words that could very well sound the death knell of the X-Men, Magneto triumphant. So, that is the end of the main story. So now we are going to do the backup story here. And it's essentially how Mesmero conquered the X-Men. So Chris Claremont is going to fill in the gaps. A little bit of more of a cartoony John Bolton. The way he's drawing it a little bit more. And so here he grabs Jean Grey. So look at the Nikes. That's awesome. And he grabs Jean Grey, and you can see Mesmero. I don't know. You know, some people have this trope. I just having people do stuff against their will to me isn't even a thing. But I guess that's because I'm a normal person. But so here we have Jean Grey in lingerie, like with all the other women. And he's, of course, going to try to have his way with her. And suddenly she hesitates, and he's like, "What the?" And so he's going to try to get her to concentrate. But, of course, you can see the Phoenix. And he realizes that he can't touch her. He can't have his way with her, and he's like, "It isn't fair, you lousy ass. I always find a way to beat you. Even when they're helpless, stinking heroes. Wish I could. Hey, why can't I? I can't touch my pretty new toy, but I sure can use her." So he can't have his way. So here she comes, and so she helps basically ensnare all the X-Men here. Chris Claremont just loves to a lot of dialogue. So grabs Banshee. So far, he's grabbed two of them. So Colossus, Cyclops, and Storm. And then Wolverine was out for a jog. Short shorts, I love it. And he sees that lightning bolt coming from there. So he's like, "She's careful, responsible gal. She wouldn't do something like that unless there's trouble." So Wolverine's getting ready, goes in, but of course, Phoenix grabs him, and and Mesmer's like, "I broke their wills. All your rough and tough pals, I'll break you." And Wolverine is like, "Uh oh," but suddenly he catches them. So, but he faked out, and so nope. So off he goes, and now Wolverine's gonna battle the X-Men. And you can see here everybody's kind of going in there, and it says here Colossus doesn't pull his punch, but of course his Wolverine's bones are laced with adamantium. So, and Cyclops, and everybody is trying to take on poor Wolverine, but Mesmer is kind of getting bored with it, and um, he's everybody's he kind of drops everybody, but Wolverine is just so tired he falls to, and now he's wondering what to do and sees that photo of Nightcrawler in the circus, and he gets the idea to have them join the circus. So this is kind of like a prequel to then, of course, the story that we had. So, and then of course here is the back cover, which I think is very striking here. So very cool. So classic X-Men number 17, by Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Terry Austin. On the main story, Kieran Doyer doing the supplemental materials, and then John Bolton doing the backup feature. So like and subscribe, and I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.